Welcome back to another episode of the Heroes Veritas podcast. Happy to have you here. If you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. That's how we grow. My guest today is Clay Smeltzer, leader of men and coach of the Purposed Infused Coaching program. He's helping men identify what their purpose is, what are their hurdles, and how to step into the role of man in their life. He and I get into a couple of pretty deep topics in this conversation. A couple of the bigger ones are answering questions such as the burning desire for men to be enough, being capable, as well as mental health, and how he goes about approaching men's coaching in his program. Before we go ahead and kick off today's episode, I did want to give a couple announcements as always. The 7th through the 9th of May, we are having our 3-day camping trip, and registration is available on the website right now. Also, the free nutrition ebook, if you've ever struggled with determining a nutrition goal, how to determine how many calories you should eat, what your goal should be, is live on our website as well. So if you go to heroesveritas.com, you can both register for the event, which is being held in Northern California or Central California, and you can download the free ebook by joining the mailing list. So without further ado, here's my interview with Clay Smeltzer. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Today, I am super excited to bring you one of my good longtime friends, Clay Smeltzer. This is a great motivator and leader of men. He's been doing a lot of great things in the masculinity and men's growth space. And so I wanted to bring him on here because I really believe he's going to bring a lot of value and perspective to this space. So Clay, thank you for joining us.
Hey man, Tim, dude, I'm always excited to talk to you. We've had some really great conversations over the last, probably a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
And man, I'll tell you what, dude, I'm so excited about your growth. I'm so excited about the Heroes Veritas, and man, it's great, man. I am so proud that you stepped into this space and are going to kill it, man. So awesome.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So, we connected through Arate, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yep.
And since then, I kind of played with that idea of getting into the coaching space, and you were already in that coaching space. And we had actually partnered yourself, True Rain, with yourself and a number of other guys who are doing something very similar, like the White Tiger podcast, and other guys trying to do a coaching program. And we sent you guys some merch, and we connected that way. But what we really kind of got passionate about was really talking about coaching and developing people. And so ever since you and I had kind of that spark of like, I want to do this, you've been kind of my go-to guy that I'd go back to and say, hey, my mentor put me on this path. I know you're already on this path. Yeah. Like, what do you think about this? And so I really appreciate that you've always been a great soundboard for me. And so that's why obviously you were one of the first people I thought to bring onto the podcast so that you can add some value.
Well, man, I appreciate it. I'm just here to help. I think one of the things that men have to do is help other men. And in order to be able to expand out exponentially, that's what we have to do. So we have something to offer. Then we give what we can offer in your gifts, and I think that's one of the things that I always stay in. So, and that's one of the things I'm super excited for you to step into and really just kind of launch this out. And you're doing great things already. You already have done great things, but dude, there's a big time coming for you, brother.
No, I appreciate that. And I see it on the horizon, and I'm just following your footsteps here, man. And you just said something that really kind of sparked my interest of like, when guys have the ability to give, they should give. And there's this general consensus, especially in Western civilization. I can't really speak on the other side of the world or the globe, but in Western civilization, that in order to be a proverbial badass in this world, we need to be these lone wolves, James Bond, Jason Bourne types, where we need to distance ourselves from society. We have to distance ourselves from a community and tribe. And that's where we're going to stand out. That's where we're going to find our fulfillment. That's where we're going to become these great, impeccable pillars of men. And what you just said there was, that's actually quite the opposite.
Yeah.
It's actually going to be hindered if you echo that concept of being in an echo chamber and running that lone wolf mentality.
And here's what I ask you, and all the guys that are listening to this, and anybody's listening to this, really, how'd be trying to do shit by yourself work out for you in your life? I know where it left me. It left me sitting on my couch over here having a panic attack over a TV show. That's where it
Yeah.
left me
Yeah.
because I had no fucking clue who I was. Sorry if I swear too much. Is that
Oh
okay?
no, I cuss like a sailor. I was
Okay, good,
so
good.
long. So yeah,
All
no,
right, cool,
please.
good, good,
And
good.
when I get
Because
passionate, I cuss even more. So
me
feel
too,
free to
dude.
let them fly. I said it as
I'm
explicit for a reason.
good, good. I am an F bomber, so it might come out a lot. But yeah, I mean, like that's the whole thing. I was bullshit myself. Like I was lying my ass off to every single person else or everybody else. I was trying to give, and that's what our society has said. To be a badass man, you have to give every single thing that you have. Empty your cup every single day. Try to fill it back up. Empty it again, and guess what? It leaves you fucking empty. That's what you get. So at
Yep.
35 years old. I'm 40 now, so I'm officially in the old range, I guess people were telling me, but I feel awesome. But at 35 years old, so 5 years ago, I'm sitting on my couch watching a Game of Thrones episode with my wife. She fell asleep. I don't know how she did, but during Game of Thrones, I don't know how you can fall asleep. But I sat there, panic attack, because in the scene that it was in, and if anybody's watched it, the whole door scene, and that scene right there was ice zombies running through the tree, and there was a person trapped. And that's exactly how I felt inside of my own head. And I was like, is this what my life is about? Is this it? And it came back to really two ultimate questions every man has to ask himself. And the first one is, am I good enough? And the second one is, do I have what it takes? And at that point in time in my life, I could not answer those two questions because I didn't know if I was good enough as a man, as a father, and as a husband. I mean, I was sitting on my couch feel with the anxiety. For me, anxiety hits me physically right away. I mean, I'm literally going into a panic attack. I'm sweating. I'm white. I feel like I'm going to shit and throw up. Like my wife is laying on top of me, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like my wife, thank God she was asleep, because it was one of those very shameful pieces of myself that it's not shameful now, but it was then. It was super shameful to say, listen, I'm supposed to take care of this woman that's laying on me, that's sleeping on me. I'm supposed to provide and protect for her and our kids that are upstairs. And if I can't even provide and protect for myself, how in the hell am I going to do this for her? How am I going to do this for my family? How am I going to do this for the rest of my life? And that was the point in time where I'm like, shit, the shit hit the fan, the proverbial midlife crisis. That's what it was. And something had to change. And I wasn't willing to be real with myself. And that's why it came to that situation. That's why it got there. I tried to do shit on my own. So when you ask, guys try to stand up and do all this stuff on their own, how the fuck does it work out for you in your life? I guarantee it hasn't worked out too well. And that's the thing. Have I done a lot of things on my own? Yeah, but it was more ego based than it was anything else, because I wanted to prove, I don't know, to somebody out there, nobody give a shit anyways. It was all proof to myself. And that's where it comes to. Like, I always go back to and you talked about when men wake up, what are some tips? Well, one is read. There's a whole bunch of stuff back here to read. Connect with people and that's what we did. We connected with each other. And the third thing is, you have to get around other men. Men, iron sharpens iron, so do men sharpen men. Period. You can't get any better as a man if you're not around other men. It doesn't fucking work out. And I become better. So I run a brotherhood, and I'm better because of that. Yes, I run it, but it is a brotherhood. It is ours. It's everybody in there. But dude, those every single week, I have 3 groups running right now. I run 2 of them. One of our guys that has a brother since the beginning, he runs our West Coast group. Amazing man. But when we go into those groups, we share, we give, we grow, we do those things. We talk about, I mean, shit, all of us, I think, have cried at some point in time in there. And these are men who, I mean, a lot of our men are construction workers. They're blue collar workers. They're guys who go out and work their ass off every single day. And they're on here talking about the things that they need to talk about, because there's no space for men to be able to do that. We provide that space. You're providing that space. We're doing it right now, because these are the conversations that men need to have. And we're not having those because we've gone along this societal thing of, nah, push it back down, do all this other stuff. Men don't cry, man up, all that kind of shit. And it's like, dude, it isn't working out. you have to, in order to own your shit, you have to own every single piece of you. That's your deep heart. That's your true self. And that's knowing exactly who you are and how you operate, which I call your purpose. So to me, man, that's when you ask that question, like, how has it gone for yourself individually so far?
Yeah.
And we're always better with the team. You're always better with the team. You know what I mean? And that's just my take on it. Some people may have something different.
Yeah. And no, I appreciate you dropping a lot of knowledge on us real quick. And I want to unpack a lot of that stuff. Um, because, the first thing you said was you anecdotally shared a piece of your story, a piece of your history, which kind of led us, transitionally into why you started this program. Is you were feeling trapped and you got thrown into the fire of that question
Yeah.
of like, am I good enough? I
Yeah.
don't know. I've never been tested. I've never been tested and initiated into manhood the way that we need to be tested
Mhm.
and initiated into manhood. And, you know, am I enough? Right? Like those are questions that every single man has at some point, whether they want to admit it to themselves or
Yeah.
not, has challenged themselves with. Whether they allowed somebody else's check boxes to challenge it for them, right?
Mhm.
Because as men, like you said, society will give you a list and say, hey, hit these check boxes and make sure that you're doing what we
Yeah.
want you to do. Exactly. But most men don't have the wherewithal and the space and the
Correct.
tools, which is what you're providing is more tools for their
Yes.
tool belt to go into those questions and go, well, hold on. You're telling me for me to be a man, these are what you want, but you're not a man. You're not
Correct.
me. Does it align with who I want to be in my deep heart?
Correct.
And is that the warrior spirit, the mana that I want to perceive of
Mhm.
myself? And you shared that anecdotally. I don't know of a man in my life, whether, you know, men I respect, men I don't respect, who haven't been in that exact position.
Yes.
Not a single one that I have known, not a single person that I've talked to,
Mhm.
because I'm a pretty open guy. I'm an open book. Judge me or not, I don't care. I'm going to tell you the truth because that's
Correct.
who I
That's
am.
who you are. Yep.
And like what you just said, by sharing that, I guarantee you, every male listener on this podcast, every male listener on your podcast, every male listener in your group or my group can, at some point in their life,
Mhm.
connect with that feeling of being trapped. Am
Correct.
I good enough? Am I worthy? Do I have what it takes? Whatever that question, you know, turns into for them, they've felt that sting.
Correct.
And to your point, you mentioned like you call it my midlife crisis. That's your life crisis. Not midlife crisis. Most
That's
men,
true. Yeah.
they ignore it for so long, and then we get deemed by the narrative like, oh, that's your midlife crisis. No, that is your life going, hey, time to wake
Hey.
up. You've been
Yeah.
playing fake fantasy for
I like
way
that.
too long. It's time to wake up. It's time to put away childish things and be a man. But guess what? You know you have to, but you have no idea how.
Correct.
And so, you called it the midlife crisis. You said 40s old, whatever. That's society telling us this.
Correct.
Men don't have those constructs. We
Mhm.
don't. And that's the thing is that's one of the biggest hurdles that I find when talking with other men and coaching other men is breaking down preconceived notions and other narratives that don't
Mhm.
apply to the masculine heart. They don't
Correct.
apply to the adventurer spirit. Like, oh, 40's old. No, it's not. I'm just getting
Dude,
started.
that's just getting started, man.
I'm just
That's
getting
not
charged
even
up.
that's not even halfway through her life. And that's where like
Yeah,
I used to think, dude, death was something that was super like threw my anxiety for a loop all the
same,
time.
same.
And I would think about death and I'd be like, oh, and then I get that all that feeling and all this stuff. But dude, listen, I have no idea. I have steps right up there. There's like 20 steps. I might fall, break my neck, and be done. Like
Yep,
after we get done this. But here's what I know and understand, and I have control over. I have control over what I give here.
yep.
So when I was up with my family eating dinner and we were just hanging out there before I came down, what I did is I looked at myself and I said, Clay, do I want to be my worst self or do I want to be my best self when I talk to Tim? And I'm choosing to be my best self because I don't know if this is the last time I'm going to get to say my piece. If this is so, if it is, I'm going to leave it all in the field. My dad was one of my high school coaches in baseball and football, and he used to line us up in both sports, and he used to line us up on the foul line at baseball and in football, and he'd say, "Gentlemen," he goes, "if you're going to step across this line, you better be willing to leave it on the field, and if you don't step across my line. Just go home." And to me, that's like my life motto. Like when I wake up in the morning, I used to wake up running 55 million miles an hour, having no fucking clue where I was going. I was just spinning in circles. My compass was never pointing in any directions. It was just sitting there spinning like hell. And what I realized is when this hit me and I started to wake up and say, hey, listen, something has to change, and the shit hit the fan. Something had to change. I had to figure out exactly who I was. And in finding and revealing my purpose, because I don't say find, and that was a word I don't want to use. Reveal. When I revealed my purpose, because my purpose was always in me. It's owning my shit, loving my story, and living with purpose. What I had to do to work to reveal it, but it was always there. In every single thing I've done in my life, as an athlete, as a dad, as a husband, all those different things. Even as a kid, it was in there. But I had to do the work to break it down and know what that is. But once I knew what that is, every single morning I wake up and I'm like, man, I open my eyes and I'm like, oh, even though it's early, and I'm like, I hate waking up early. Even though it's early.
You woke up.
Like, yeah. I'm like, dude, I woke up. I'm like, fuck, dude. Like most people don't think about that. And like, I used to dread waking up. I'm a teacher. I teach 7th grade math still. And I used to dread driving into work, and I'm like, oh my God, do the same shit every day, wait till Friday, then the weekend comes. I'm supposed to have some fun on the weekend. Problem is I'm doing shit around the house all the time. Yeah. Then all of a sudden Monday comes and I'm back to the same shit over and over again. But when I revealed my purpose, crossing that line is my foot hitting the floor in the morning. So before I roll out of bed and my feet hit that floor, I'm just thinking, and I'm looking up and going, and again, whatever you believe, religious, spiritually, or whatever it is out there that you believe what you believe. I'm going to believe what I believe. And, if it's a flying squirrel out there that you think runs it, cool, whatever, but for me, I have a connection with God, what I call God. I am not religious, but when I say, hey man, I'm looking up and saying, thank you. I'm thank you for whatever is out there in the universe that created this, that I feel connected to. I wake up and say, thank you. And it's gratitude. You want to change your life, start practicing gratitude. Because you can't hate life. I can't hate going to work if I'm grateful that I just fucking woke up. So I started changing that, and I started to realize, like, when my feet hit the floor, go back to what I was good at. I was good at athletics. I was good at when I crossed that line, I was going to give every single thing. So that's what I do every single day, because I don't know if I'm going to get tomorrow. There are literally millions of people that will not wake up tomorrow morning. I'm hoping I'm going to be one of those, but I might not. And today might be the last time I could delay it on the field. So I'm damn well sure going to know I do that. But most men are too timid. Most men won't do that. They won't step out. Well, somebody might judge me. Well, somebody might say this about me. Well, somebody might look this about. Well, stop living your fucking life based upon what everybody else is saying about you. Live it to who you truly are, because guess what? You only got one of these lives. That's it. You have one life, period. I walk into school and people are like, how's your day? I'm like, fucking great. Well, I don't say that at school, but that's in my head. I say, great.
Right.
It's now some of my teacher friends I do, because they're like, but usually it's how's it going today? I'm like, great, man. I woke up today. It's a great day. And at first people are like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm really good. And but one teacher said, man, don't you think that's morbid? I said, no. I said, and it was at the end of the school day. I said, I'm literally going to be going in 5 minutes to do the most dangerous thing on earth, which is drive a car. Because think about it. When we drive a car, there's either white dashed lines that separate you from somebody else moving at 70 miles an hour, or 2 yellow lines. Somebody can literally just be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just going to cross the line and run into you. There is literally nothing between you and another car passing each other at 70, 40, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour. Nothing. And it's like, that is the most dangerous thing we do on earth, and I might not make it home. So I'm going to leave it all in the field wherever I go. And that's what I just started doing, man. And so, I don't know where I was going to go next on that.
No. I was just listening because that aligns so heavily with like my whole thought process of life, right? I was that guy once upon a time that when people are like, oh, living the dream, life is fantastic. I'm like, yeah, fucking liar. Like, you're out of your fucking mind. Like, you're bullshitting people because you don't want them to know the truth, which in a lot of cases, it's true. But I'm now the guy who, when they ask, how are you doing? I go, fantastic. Why? Because I'm here.
Yeah.
To your point, gratitude is the game changer.
Game changer.
And that's going to be a podcast that I'm gonna shoot up here in the future. And I think it's the next one. It's the next one after Marcus Ferguson. Because it's a core requirement for you to step out of bed ready to give 110%. Because if you step out of bed, to your point, and you don't have that conversation with yourself or God or the universe or whoever it is that you hold yourself accountable to, your significant other, your kids, that says, hey, I'm going to show up in
And
every single way possible.
it should be yourself.
It should be yourself. I agree. It should be yourself. But some people need that external while they build themselves, right?
Correct.
And, you know, I say it a lot, meet people where they are. So if you need that external accountability, and that goes back to the brotherhood, that goes back to getting around other men. If you still need that accountability, fine. But ultimately, the goal is you hold yourself accountable and say, you know what? Today's going to be a great day because I'm here. Today's going to be a great day because I'm going to be the hero of my story. And I'm going to make the best out of this moment.
Yeah.
Because it is. It's a moment. It's fleeting.
It is.
Time is a man-made construct, right? I love saying it's a man-made construct. It could be as stretched as far as you need it to, or as short as you want it to be. And it's all here.
Yes.
And it's all here. And so when you talked about gratitude, like it's such an imperative for you to step outside of yourself and live the life that you truly want. And if anybody wants an anecdote to prove that, compare a person who is truly grateful.
Yes.
And somebody who is absolutely resentful. You can have a billionaire commit suicide tomorrow because he was resentful of everything that it took to get him there. And you can have a child walk out with no shoes tomorrow, happy to just be allowed to enjoy school or be allowed to be in the game.
Yep.
Gratitude is the separator. And getting back to your point earlier that you brought up of like get around other men. One thing that I've learned through this process, through my own process, is men are the only ones that can initiate other men.
Correct. Period.
Sorry,
and sorry, ladies. Like, listen,
it's an ego hit for women.
Yeah, and I can't. I have 2 girls. I can help my girls be strong, independent women. I cannot move them into womanhood.
Right.
Just like my wife cannot move our son into manhood. She can help build character, build morals, build those things, but she can't transition him to say, you have what it takes and you are good enough.
Yeah.
I have that power.
Yeah. And you're the only one that's going to have that power.
Correct.
With you. And I had this argument with my sister earlier this week because she has a nephew and she, for, all intents and purposes, single mom. And so we were having a discussion over a drink and she, we were kind of talking about our childhood. And she's like, so what's going on with everything you're doing? And I was starting to talk to her about like men need to be around other men and they're the only ones that can initiate other men. She's like, I don't think that's true. That I don't believe in absolutes. And I was like, I agree with you that if this absolute was based on culture, 100%. If this absolute was based on a concept, 100%. But we're talking about biology. We're talking about physiology.
Talking about
we're
DNA,
talking
man.
about anatomy. We're not talking about a mental or neurological concept. We are talking about a fundamental in the biology, in our genealogy as human species.
Yes.
The same way that if a man never gets a father figure to initiate him is the reason that they become the worst type of men.
Correct.
Because they will forever be chasing that validation.
Yes.
Never getting the guidance and definition that you are a man.
Yep.
So what do? They go based on what the narrative says. Oh, men got to be strong. Then I'm going to be over the top strong and tell people to man up and stop being a pussy and all this other stuff, because no man took them aside and said, this is the guardrails of strength. This is where this is your sweet spot. Anything below this, you're not a man. Anything beyond it, you're not a man.
Nope.
So women can give a lot of structure on the emotional and nurturing side. But there's a point, especially at the point of, and this is scientific, like at the point of puberty, the chemical makeup of the boy will detach from the mom and start seeking approval from the father.
Correct. Yep.
And we got into a conversation with my sister and I, and it was funny to listen because I told her, I was like, listen, I will not speak out of ignorance. I don't know how it is for women.
Yeah.
All I know is that I cannot initiate a woman into womanhood.
Nope.
And she's like, yes, you can. Dad did it for me. And I was like, sis, look at you. You're a dude. By all intents and purposes, you're a metal worker, a mechanic. You like piercings and tattoos and football, and you got initiated into masculinity, not femininity. So
Yep.
yeah, dad was able to give you the approval you were seeking, and that worked for you, but you did not become feminine
Mhm.
as a result. You became masculine.
Correct. Yeah.
And therefore, you and I, we can josh like pals. Like
Mhm.
we can, hey, locker room talk, like don't be a pussy. Like we can talk like that. But that doesn't make it right. That doesn't
Yeah.
make it okay. And you personally have been fighting that because you want to wear dresses and think that people are going to judge you for wearing dresses now.
Mhm.
You're supposed to be okay wearing dresses. You're
Yeah,
not
that's what
supposed
you're
to be
supposed to
okay.
wear.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, I just don't believe that. And I was like, that's cognitive dissonance then,
Yeah.
because you're being proven with evidence in your own anecdote, in your own
Yeah.
story. And to kind of divert back down and digress into what I was saying is your statement of getting around other men
Mhm.
is so imperative.
Correct.
Every incident of toxic masculinity, overbearing, chauvinistic, misogynistic, all those definitions that are negatively attributed to masculinity is actually a lack of masculinity
Yes.
in that space
Insecurity.
because
Mhm.
exactly they are overcompensating because they're afraid that that question, those two questions,
Mhm.
am I enough?
Am I good enough, and do
Am
I
I good
have what
enough?
it takes?
And do I have what it takes is going to come with no.
Yes.
And so they've never been given a measuring stick. So they're like, do I go super off the scale and
Yeah.
like everybody's under my thumb because that's power,
Yeah.
or do I go the opposite and become meek and timid and like I don't want to ruff the feathers, and there's no scale there. And so by
And
getting around other men specifically, and I talk about this a lot, is set your perimeter.
Mhm.
Setting your perimeter is not a physical necessarily. There is a physical aspect to it, but it's identifying the people that align with your true heart
Yes.
of, do I even care what they think?
Yeah.
Because if I get around a bunch of timid soy boys personally
Yeah.
who want to talk about their feelings, which is fine, but do nothing about it, just
Mhm.
want to whine, and they get offended by everything. Like if I said the F word, they're like, whoa, bro, why you got to be so aggressive? Like, I don't
'Cause
really
I
care
like
about their
it.
opinion because I honestly, I, I'm seeing something I'm not connecting with here.
Yeah.
We're not the same. So if they don't like me, I'm not going to internalize that and be like, oh, those guys don't like me. I'm
Mhm.
going to instead take myself aback and go, okay, let's analyze this. They don't like me. One, is it something that I could change? If so, is it something I want to change?
Correct.
And most people don't have those analytical skills as men because we've been taught to be meek. We've been taught to be serving. And I don't want to be misunderstood here. Men are meant to serve,
Mhm.
but they are meant to serve their tribe, their people,
Correct.
not everyone,
Correct.
not
In a
the
way
world.
that's in a way that's effective for them. And let's go back to those the insecurity of all those guys. Like I always talk about the macho man. I could drink more beer than you. I can lift more weights and I can get more girls. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you're just. And here's the reason why I can say that, because I was that dude. You're just an insecure. You're just insecure, man.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. You know, the tough guys. Like, and it's insecurity. The guys that say, "Oh, I don't cry. I don't show my feelings." That's for pussies. Like, dude, no, you are the pussy because you're the one who can't tap into his emotions and actually do that. What you don't understand is that if you can't handle your emotions handle you, and you're the one who's weak.
Yeah.
I can tap into every single emotion that I have. I can express every single emotion that I have, but I can do that
Without
because
breaking you.
correct,
That's the
without
critical
breaking me.
part.
Where it used to it did, or before, what I did is I just kept pushing it down into the water, and what I call the deep water, and just kept putting weights on it. The fucking thing would pop back up, and I'd be like, "Oh, whoa, no, 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 no!" So it popped out of the lake, and then I just kept putting weights on it to push it back down. And what I had to do is to get to know exactly who Clay Smeltzer was. I had to put on the gear, and I had to go dive down and take the weights off. And that's what allowed me to become me. And what we're doing is too, when you talk about the insecurities, those men who do that, the macho man, the tough guy, all that stuff, is those guys there are trying to find something else to answer those two questions. Am I good enough? And do I have what it takes? And I'll give you an example of this because it was me too. My second marriage, I've been married 3 times. I've been divorced twice, married 3 times. My second marriage, was specifically, and at the point in time, I thought I was doing everything great, was basically to find validation for a woman to answer those two questions, that I was good enough as a man, a husband, and a father, and that I had what it took for those three things. That's why I made that marriage. Obviously, it didn't work because nobody else can answer those questions but me.
Yeah, you
I can't
literally
answer
hand
it.
over the reins of the
I
vehicle to
can't do it.
somebody who doesn't know how to drive it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll go back further in my life. Let's go back to football and baseball. And honestly, I didn't give a shit about anybody else except for my dad after the game, giving me that nod and be like, yeah, or like, good job. Like I didn't care. I didn't care. Any of the head coach, I love those guys, but I didn't care about any other player, anybody else. I just wanted my dad to be like, yo, but here's what I was doing. I was trying to get him to answer those questions about my play. And only I could answer those two questions. Am I good enough? And did I have what it took? Only I could have answered those questions, but I was trying to get my dad to answer those questions as coach. And again, looking back then, I only need to know if I did that. And the same thing now, like the reason why, and guys with the relationships, man, dude, we fuck this up all the time. We get into relationships for this and that. I want to get with the hottest girl. Dude, that girl's probably not even like good for you at all, but she's hot, and I can show her off to my friends. Like, dude, you're just trying to answer that question. You're trying to get her to answer those questions for you because you're like, I met the quota or whatever. But the reason why my marriage now is way different than anything else is because I don't need her and she doesn't need me. We just love being with each other because she takes care of her first and then she expands out to other people. I take care of me first and then we expand out to other. We've been taught as men to serve, give. Nobody told us to serve ourselves first, especially our generation, because our parents were told, go work your ass off for the whole entire life. And at the end, hopefully you get to retire and it'll be fun then. That's what we were taught, which is serve, especially men with kids. Men with kids, we serve. We will literally, and this is so crazy, we will literally, this goes back to the word accountability. Accountability is ownership, period. Then that comes with the word commitments. We commit. We will literally make commitments to every single body else. We will make all of these commitments to our kids, but the easiest commitment to break is the one we told ourselves, which is bullshit as men. We got to stop breaking the commitments we made to ourselves, the things that we said that we were going to take care of ourselves. But Tim, this is what they told you. Hey, if you go put yourself first, you're a selfish asshole.
Yeah.
And it's bullshit. You
100%.
think, why is the mental health in men so high? Why are suicides so high? Why is all this stuff in mental health with men? Why is it so bad? Why is it drug addiction, abuse? You got prisons filled with men. Like, why is all this happening? Because men weren't told the fucking truth. We were told a bunch of shit that says go, 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 go. And nobody ever said, hey, dude, you need to take care of you first and then help other people.
Well, they need the obedient soldier. They
Yeah.
don't want the person who actually has a selfish driver,
Yeah.
right? Like, because that's what it is. As men, we talk about fulfillment. Fulfillment, to your point, can only be defined and attributed and achieved by us internally.
That's
That's it. There's there's nothing else back down to that. That's it. But we were told instead, you need to provide for your community. That's where you get fulfillment. You got to provide for your significant other. That's where you get fulfillment. Your kids, your extended family, the community, the nation, the country, like whatever the case is, your fulfillment comes in the form of everybody else.
Correct.
Which is true for some people. Some people are wired for that level of service and they're re-energized by that. Like me, I'm re-energized by that type of level of work by a very small nucleus of people.
Yeah.
My tribe. I don't have the wide circle of, next street over, the city, the county, the state. And I was told I'm an insensitive asshole because I'm like, honestly, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't have the energy for them over there. And to your point, we've been lied to. And I like to tell people, and I know you're the same, men are a finite resource. The sun itself is a finite resource. It will burn out. So you need to make a call on where that finite resource is going to be applied. And it is not selfish for you to make that call. It is actually the most selfless thing you can do.
Correct.
for the people that you think matter most. Now, it can be selfish if you're like, you know what, I have nothing for nobody else, and
Yep.
that's okay too. But if you have a circle, you need to determine, okay, if I'm going to use this energy here, then I can't use that over here with my kids,
Hmm.
right? Like if I'm over here and I'm drinking and staying out all night, I can do that, but then I can't play with my kids the next morning and take them
Correct.
to baseball practice because I was out and I'm hungover now.
Hmm.
You have to balance that out. Most men think because of our ego, we are infinite.
Yeah.
We need to just somehow find the immortal pool of energy that will forever be there and the
Uh,
living spring and well of energy that doesn't exist.
yeah.
And then we beat ourselves up when we don't have it.
Correct. Ooh, that's good. That's like super good, man. Dude, we're the I had a discussion. I forget who it was, but it was a lady, and we were talking about, like beating ourselves up and shame. And I was like, listen, I will tell you right now, I guarantee you, men have run more shame cycles than women ever think we do.
Oh yeah.
Ever.
Well,
Ever.
most women see men as dense because we've been told not to share it,
Yeah.
right? But
Yep.
meanwhile, I feel like the analytics engine in a man, because of the utilitarian nature of
Hmm.
our egos, runs at a much higher cyclical frequency than a woman's shame cycle. They're
That makes
vocal
sense.
about it,
Yeah.
right? They're vocal about it, but we process information faster. That's scientific. We process things,
Hmm.
logistics, facts, data, and like analytics. We process them faster. So if you compare the physiological capacity for our frequency of
Hmm.
processing with how many things we're told we're doing wrong just by existing, I would agree with you that our shame cycles are at a much more
Oh yeah.
frequent rate than women because there is no right for men, right?
Yeah.
Like with women, you could be plus sized, obese, unhealthy, you're brave and you'll have support. You
Hmm.
can be a slut, for lack of a better term, and if somebody slut shame you, then you're going to have a whole group of people come and defend you. And vice versa. You could be Virgin Mary and somebody will shame you, and they're going to, for women, they're always going to
Yeah.
have a white knight somewhere. But for guys, we have to be very deliberate on, okay, was I right? Was I wrong? How can I
Yeah.
change it? Who judged me? Who did I affect? Who did I impact?
Yep.
And with each interaction, however big our circle is, that shame cycle is going to get bigger, bigger, bigger,
Correct.
more frequent. And unlike women who can openly just be like, so Becky, this and that and this and this, and they're very vocal about it. They can process it
Yeah.
externally, and that's great. I'm not, again, this isn't to bash women. It's just to create a comparative. Men, on the other hand, have to just go,
Yeah.
mm-hmm, yep.
Yep.
And meanwhile, just take whatever that abuse is that we're getting.
Hmm.
Hey, you were a little misogynistic there with what you said. Hey, you shouldn't have said that. Hey, you should have been a little softer. Hey, you should have thought about their feelings. Hey, you shouldn't have said your opinion. Hey, why'd you have to go and do that?
Hmm.
Every man I know has gone through that
Oh yeah.
rigmarole. And it's not until you as a man have respect for yourself,
Correct.
create that boundary and say, no, I said that thing because I meant to say it. If
Correct.
I didn't mean to say it, I wouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
And
Eh,
that's my opinion. Why is
yeah.
my opinion wrong?
Well, it's not because it's your life, and that's the thing. And
Exactly.
that's the
Gold.
thing is,
Absolute
man,
gold.
yeah. And I mean, that's where a lot of this comes back to, man. Is it? I always say, and I'm here to help people own their shit, to love their story, and to live with purpose. And owning your shit is knowing exactly who you are, and it's everything. You know what I mean? And that's where we don't have enough of that. We don't have enough men standing up to say, no, this is who I am. When you can talk about any area of life. You can talk about those, you can talk about religion, politics, school, education, work, career, dad, husband, all of those things, single, all of those areas you can talk about, but you have to own yourself in that space. Who are you in that space? To me, we talk about the tugboat or the lighthouse. The lighthouse stands firm in one place and shines its light out. The tugboat keeps going and wearing itself out all the time. And
Yep.
for me, the lighthouse, I'm a lighthouse. I was a tugboat. I'm a teacher. I was taught to be a tugboat, to go save, 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 save. Well, the problem is I'm doing all the fucking work and everybody I was trying to save wasn't doing shit.
Yep.
And it's like, so I had to say no. When you're talking about boundaries, that's where the lighthouse comes in. Dude, I set my foundation. I said, this is where I'm building my foundation. This is what it's on. This is what it's about. And I build that foundation. I build it, and then I spark that light, and then that light keeps shining. My goal is to continue to just keep like that light shining. What do I do? How do I do that? I wake up every single day. I leave it on the field. I own my shit. I love my story. I live with purpose. I help other people do that. How do I do that? Well, how do I do that? I do that as a man. I do that as a husband, a father, a coach, a brother. I do it as in the grocery store, as an author, as a speaker, whatever. Like in every single thing I do the same thing. I do me. And we don't have enough men who stand up to do that. We don't have enough men who are willing to stand in the crosshairs of whatever else is out there and say, no, man, this is me. And some people come and use your light, and some people don't. It's just like, if I'm a cup and I'm overflowing tea, and I like hot tea, so I'm overflowing my hot tea. Some people come and drink it and like, ooh, that tastes like shit. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, but I'm still overflowing my cup. Some people come and taste it and are like, you know what? I kind of like it. Let's see what's happening. Some people drink it and they're like, dude, I love this. This is fucking great. Like, you're going to have it all. We are in a society that wants to please every single person. It ain't going to fucking happen. Look at the cancel culture. Look at all these things. Everybody's so fucking offended. Like, oh my God. Like, if you don't like it, just like, don't be so like, why are you so fucking offended? It has nothing, literally. It's like, it just, that's part of me where it's like, it gets really frustrating in that situation and in our society that acts like that, because that is a completely insecure society. That's what it is. 100%. You don't own you. If I'm getting offended by every single thing out there that people would say about me, Clay, I don't like your hair. Clay, I don't like your beard. Clay, your shirt's stupid. Like, all right, cool. Like, okay. Hey, I don't like the way you talk because you swear too much. All right. Don't listen to me. Like, there are literally millions of people out there that you can listen to that are better than me, that would connect with you better than I do. I might not connect with you, but I'm not getting offended because you don't listen to me. I'm not getting offended if you listen to this and I think, hey, that everything that guy said stupid. Like, I'm okay with that. Yeah. A lot of people might look at it and be like, dude, I like what that guy's saying. Let me connect with that guy. Either way, it's cool. But that's not because it goes to the selfish or it goes to like the ego base. It's because I don't match with everybody. And you as a man have to know what works for you and do you. I will never sit here and tell a man that this is how they need to be. Some people do that. Some people say, hey, this is what you got to be. This got to be. No. Dude, you got to be fucking you. Like, and if you're not you, then you need to do the work to find out what that is and who that is, and then be you. That's it. Just like when I said, you believe whatever you want to believe, just believe it. Believe in that. And that's where, for me, one of the biggest things, man, just go back and look in the mirror. The person in the mirror is the one who knows every single thing about you. If you can't look at that person in the mirror and look them straight in the eyes and say, I love you, and mean it and believe it, you got some work to do. And you need to reach out to you. You need to reach out to me, or you need to reach out to somebody else that you connect with that's going to allow you to be able to look in that mirror, say, I love you, and go out and live life. And every single day, excited with your purpose to own your shit, love your story, and live with purpose every single day. You got to go do it because you got one life. Stop wasting a damn thing. Or if you're one of those like me who is kind of in the middle, like I think I'm doing something, but I think I'm not. And then that's where a lot of guys fall in that middle section. Dude, just reach out and be part of something bigger than yourself. Get a part of a tribe. Come through the brotherhood. Come join Veritas. Dang it, I just forgot the name of it.
Heroes Veritas, yeah.
Yeah, Heroes Veritas.
You're on a roll.
I was like, I had it. But anyways, go join that. Go find another group. Whatever. But get around. That's where like you and me, I'm not in competition with you, because there's people that connect with you and there's people that connect with me. And the more that one of my buddies, Paul Beam down in Texas, like there's people that connect with Paul. Like, dude, go find Paul. You know what I mean? If I don't match with you, if you don't match with, but I'm not here in competition because there are so many men who need help around the world who want to be a part of something that's great. Dude, you got to reach out. We got to stop secluding ourselves and saying, hey, I can handle it myself. Big, bad, tough. No, dude, you fucking can't. It hasn't worked out for a long time. Stop lying to yourself that it has. Find a group, find those things, find people that you can get around. Iron sharpens iron, men sharpen men, period. That's how it works. So you got to do something about it.
Long time.
So
Long time. I mean, that's ancient wisdom right there,
yeah,
right?
it
And
is.
just to wrap up, because I know you had a little bit of time there. That was a great kind of transition into what I want to talk about. But you're right. Like, no man worth his salt can truly be happy with himself with
Mhm.
universal morality. He has to find out what works for him.
Yeah.
And like in today's world, like you said, cancel culture, they could be like, yo, I hate this dude because he wears red shirts. Well, if I just turn around and be like, all right, I'll change it to blue, like, would
Yeah.
that make you like me? I won't like me. So
Yeah.
who cares if changing my
Right.
shirt makes them like me? I have to like me. So
Yes.
you know what? You don't like red shirts? I like red shirts, and I like me in red shirts. So there we go. And again, lighthouse, perfect analogy. Stop being the tugboat. Stop wasting your energy. Plant yourself. Let people come to you. Lead people in. And like you said, if you're stuck in between, like a lot of us are, like I don't like you started this because you're like I don't see anything, but let's see if we can make it happen.
Yeah.
I started Heroes Veritas because I was like, I see a lot of things, but it doesn't really align with what I'm
Yeah.
trying to do. Let's build something new. That's the encouragement that both
Right.
Clay and I have, whether it's through
Yes.
Purpose Infused or through Heroes Veritas. I agree with you. We're not in competition. We're just different flavors of the same product,
Yeah.
right? Like Pepsi, Coke, root beer, Dr. Pepper. Like it doesn't make you stop liking
Mhm.
soda. You just go and find another flavor.
Yeah.
And so I'm so absolutely grateful for you to come on to the podcast. That was an amazing conversation.
Appreciate it.
Uh,
Well,
on
and
a
I
lot
have one
of stuff.
thing that I kind of want to say too, and I think it's important because we talked about death, we talked about all these things, and here's one of my biggest fears is to get to the end of my life and look back. And I know this is a lot of men. They don't ever say it, and they need to, and they need to do something about it. My greatest fear is getting to the end of my life, looking back and looking at my life and being like, man, I didn't fucking do anything with it. Like I didn't make a significant impact in this world. And every man wants to be significant. Every man wants to feel significant. They want to answer that question. Am I good enough and do I have what it takes? And Ed Milet said it best when he described, you know, when he gets to the end of his days before he walks through the gates of heaven, he's going to meet the man that he was meant to be. Well, I take it a step further and I say, listen, you know what? I don't know, just want to meet that man and be like, hey, I recognize you. I want to embrace that man. I want to put my arms around that man. I want to hug him. I want to say, man, I love you. I want him to put his arms around me. I want him to say, I love you back. And I want him to be like, thank you for doing what it took to be the man that you were meant to be. Welcome home. Whatever that home looks like, I don't have a fucking clue. But I want to get to my day, end of my days, whenever that is. And I want that moment to say, hey, I know who you are. I recognize you. I love you. I don't want to go back and be like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Because that means I didn't do with the time that I have what I could have done. And to me, that's not okay. And so many men feel that way. And if you feel that way, dude, you got to be able to step in. You got to be able to step into yourself so you can step up to lead your life and then go fucking after it, man. We got one thing to live, man. And that's so I talking about all those things that came up and I kind of feeling it. And I want you guys to know that it's important to reach out and be a part. Again, men sharpen men like iron sharpens iron. We have to bond together. When we do that, we get exponential growth of ourselves and it overflows to everybody else. When we get better, when men get better, the world gets better. When men get better, women get better. When women get better, men get better. It is a dichotomy that works and we have to work it. We have to do our part though.
Yep. 100%. On that note, Mike drop. That was a phenomenal end to that. So where can they find you? What kind of projects are you working on right now? Just to end it out, I want to make sure that they know where to find you if they want. If I'm not their flavor, Clay's definitely got a flavor for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And so you can find me on social media, LinkedIn, Clay Smeltzer. You can find me on Facebook, Clay Smeltzer. I also run a Purpose Infused Men's Facebook group that you can always request there. We do a lot of different things. We're really kind of lighting that up right now. My goal is to reach 1,000 men by the end of the year. We are halfway there already, and it's only February. So there's a lot of great stuff going on in there. And I know I appreciate all your comments in there and things that you post in there as well. And so you can catch up with me there. Instagram, you got Clay Smeltzer there at Instagram. You can also check me out, Purpose Infused Coaching Purpose Infused Coaching at mykajabi.com. That's there, and I'm sure we provide links and things like that too. Or you can just email me if you're like, hey, dude, I just want to connect with you, kind of chat. Email me, purposeinfusedcoaching@gmail.com, and we'll chat or link up on any of those things. DM me, dude. Look, I'm an open book. You can ask me whatever, and see, what can we help there. Some of the projects that I do, I run brotherhood groups. We have 3 groups going around. We got 2 East Coast groups, and we got 1 West group. We meet for about an hour and 15 minutes every single week. We discuss certain topics throughout the week. Right now, one of the cool things we're doing, which I just started today, so excited, we're reading Green Lights for our book of the month.
Absolutely love that book. I don't know how far you are into it, but it's phenomenal.
I am on page 14.
Dude, it's so good. You're gonna love it. And the correlatives in that book that he uses just anecdotally to what we're talking about, like,
just the green lights. All right, man. I got notes written down. I got things underlined already. So I am super excited. We're going to read this, and then we're going to do a book talk at the end of March as a brotherhood, but we're also going to be doing it in the Facebook group as well on March 1st. So if anybody wants to join in that's listening to this, hey man, hit up on Purpose Infused Men's Facebook group and read along. And so we got that. Just some other things that we're going to kind of be going out through this year. Really just kind of want to build that network, grow our brotherhoods, because men, again, together, men can do great things. And I know that's what you're doing too. So we support you in any way that we can. And I know you support us in any way that we can. And together, we're going to have men come together. That's going to do a shit ton of good stuff all over the world, man.
Yeah. So on that note, you mentioned that the book reading is going to be on March 1st. Did you mean May 1st?
Oh, sorry. April 1st. My bad.
April 1st. Okay.
April 1st.
So April 1st is the book reading. So I just wanted to correct that. And, we do have the camping trip coming up in May 7th through the 9th for Heroes Veritas. So that's going to be a weekend trip. Those tickets are on sale right now. So if you guys are looking to get kinetic, then connect with other men sharpening men. Looking forward to having everybody out there for that. Have a lot of great stuff planned. Still working out, maybe getting some speakers, but if nothing else, we're going to hang out, learn some skills, and have a Warriors feast at the end of Saturday. So that should be a blast. So Clay, really appreciate you coming on, brother. We'll connect. Obviously, we'll continue to connect. Why don't you just hang out? I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and we'll have a little bit of a conversation before we close out. But
good deal.
Clay Smeltzer, Purposed Infused Coaching. Thanks for joining us for Heroes Veritas.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you.
Your spirit.